Welcome back. Today I want to talk about some little things in book design specifically that I've seen over the years, some little tips to try and make a book look as good as possible. This specifically goes out to people that are self-publishing, which is always gaining popularity, and it's a great way to get your book out in the hands of people that want to read about what you're writing about. And I like books. If you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, you've noticed that a lot of what I do here is book printing. And that's kind of by design. That's because I believe in books. And it's cool, just the idea that a book is going to store information and knowledge and ideas for other people. And it's just a great way. It has a good historic track record. I mean, most of what we know from history is because it was written in a book. Now that doesn't mean that there's not other ways to do it. You know, you can videos and there's digital ways as well. But books have withstood the test of time. And well, that's a whole nother video. Let's just talk about some design tips and tricks. Okay, a lot of people get intimidated about designing their own book. And if you're gonna self-publish, you know, that's a great way to cut costs and you know, get your book done and also put some of your own flair and design into it. But a lot of people get intimidated and, you know, don't want to take that leap, and they don't think it's possible. But man, it's really simple, and don't be intimidated by it. Just take it easy. There's tons of information on the internet that's available. My biggest advice to people is find a book that you like and then just design like that, as far as the margins go, font size, photo placement, the size of the book, the binding style. That's really a great way to start. But so much about designing a book is personal preference. And I know there's every week, somebody just talked to me today about you know, different layouts of a book, and my answer pretty much all the time is it's personal preference, and that's the truth. And I'm sure there's some sticklers out there that say, no, it's not personal preference, your margin has to be 3/4 of an inch, but it really is personal preference. I mean, not that long ago, I printed a book and it had a running header, it had a running footer on the bottom, and I don't know. I don't necessarily, that's not for me. I like running headers, but I'm not gonna tell somebody not to do that. It's a free country. One of my biggest pet peeves, and it's really not a huge deal, but when you're designing a book, the interior pages, in my opinion, should be justified left. And that means you have a straight edge on both of your lines of text. Because if it's not justified and it's, you know, a line left, it has a jagged edge. And it just doesn't look as professional as a left justified column of text. Low quality images. That's one thing that there's really no excuse for nowadays. There are multiple online websites where you can download high quality stock images for free as long as you give them credit. So for like book covers and things like that, that's a great place for a high quality image. And when it comes to printing, garbage in, garbage out. So if it's a bad photograph, when you have it, it's going to print bad as well. And I know there's a lot of, you know, memoirs and biographies where you have old photographs, and you know, that's just the way it is with that. That's okay. But when you have the ability, high quality images make a book look so much better. Page numbers. Sometimes people forget the page numbers, which is definitely a no-no. And sometimes people keep the page numbers like on the left for every page, and then on the back of that page it ends up being in the gutter. You should be able to mirror those numbers so the page numbers are always on the outside edges. If you can't figure that out, I would just center the page number on the bottom of the page. That'll work as well. You know, book margins are also often a question people ask me. And again, it's personal preference. I do strongly recommend that the gutter, which is the inside where the spine of the book is, that should definitely be an 1/8 to an additional 1/4 inch more than the rest of your margin. And that's just because the pages, they get lost where they're bound together there. But I would say I've printed books already that are like a 1/2 inch margin, and I don't really like that. I think it looks a little close, but at minimum there needs to be a 1/2 inch. But I would probably suggest more like 3/4 of an inch, or even 1 inch. But again, it's really whatever you want. It's your book. You know, I think I said it before, but I'll say it again. Consistency is the biggest thing that will make a book design look professional. And that means, you know, the same font throughout the whole book, same margins, just need to be consistent. I mean, that applies for life too. Be consistent. Now, for most books that we design here, we use an 11-point font. And but that again is totally up to the customer, because some customers want 12 or 13, and some people want less, and that really depends on the font too. So again, you know, try it out, print it out, see what it looks like. If it's good for you, that's your answer. And if you designed your book yourself and you're ready to send it to a printer to have them print out a proof or print some books, you're going to want to send them a PDF file. So whatever you're using, whatever application, there should be a way to export a PDF. And that just means all the information to provide a good quality print is going to be contained in that file. All the fonts, all the images, everything should look exactly the same it does on your computer that it will on your printer's computer, or whatever company you're getting to manufacture these books. You're going to want a PDF. So save some time and have a PDF ready to roll. Now, this was not an extensive list by any means, but hopefully it gives somebody out there some confidence to sit down and hammer out their own book and get that thing in the hands of people that are going to appreciate it. I firmly believe that every single person has at least one book inside them, and they should be writing it. Now, I personally didn't write any books yet, so I feel like I can't quite say that, but I know I could write a book on something. I don't know. Now the secret's out. I like printing books. See you next time.